Okay, well, I'm going to try and do this video totally off the cuff. This is take two, however. I've already done take one, waffled on a little bit too much on take one. What I want to talk about today is this idea of creation out of nothing. Or if you want to impress your friends and acquaintances by inserting a few words of Latin in your sentences for some bizarre reason, creatio ex nihilo is the term that you want to be dropping in there just to make yourself look really, really clever. Or you could get it totally wrong and make yourself look really shitty thick. So perhaps best not to there. But anyway, so the situation here is that we've got this idea of creation out of nothing that's aimed often by the theist at the atheist. At the atheist, what existed before the universe? Nothing. You're saying that something came from nothing. Of course, most atheists aren't actually saying that. Most atheists, what they are saying is, we don't know whether there was something pre-existent. We don't even know if the idea of pre-existence makes sense, because what we do know is our universe is the start of our temporal dimension, our temporal realm. So maybe that is the only temporal realm. Maybe there's an external temporal realm. Maybe there isn't. So maybe the whole idea of pre-existence means something, maybe it doesn't. We don't know. We're in a very, very poor epistemic position indeed. Basically, in technical terms, we know fuck all. We're just guessing. We're just clutching at straws with these kinds of things. But the accusation is still made. What you're appealing to is something out of nothing. But here's the strange thing. This is the really strange thing. If you ask a typical Abrahamic monotheist, a Christian, etc., what they believe happened, they believe that the universe was created out of nothing. They'll happily tell you that. They'll happily tell you God created the universe out of nothing. So it seems that what they're saying their problem is, creating something out of nothing, can't be the problem, because they're just postulating the same thing. The only thing they're really adding is an agent to perform the act of magic. And it really is like an act of magic, isn't it? It's like, you're sat here with me, you're the religious guy, and we're sat watching my little stage there. And on the stage, a rabbit suddenly appears, and you say, how did that rabbit appear, Jim? And I say, well, it must be an act of magic. Well, you're going to demand an explanation of me for that. You're going to say an act of magic. That's not good enough. I want to know how that happened. And I'm going to say, well, I just don't know. It's an act of magic. Anyway, the next day, we're at your house and we're watching your... I'd actually have a stage in my house. This is a bit bizarre. But let's imagine we've all got stages in our house. We're at your house, we're watching your stage, and a rabbit appears on your stage all of a sudden. And I say, well, how's that happen then? You explain that and you say, well, it's an act of magic. So I say, okay, well, explain the act of magic. How is that any different to what happened on my stage? And you say, but look at the stage again. On my stage, there's a magician. Now, can you see where I'm driving at here? Postulating, hypothesizing a magician on your stage goes no way towards explaining the act of magic. We still don't understand what an act of magic has consisted of, what processes have gone on. We're no way closer to explaining that. I mean, maybe we feel a little bit more easy in the idea that there's this agent, this magician, who's conducted the act of magic, but anything we've gained there, we've lost, because we've now got to explain this magician. So it is with the Abrahamic, the monotheistic version of creation out of nothing, and the suggested, enforced, I would suggest, atheistic version of creation out of nothing that apparently all those atheists subscribe to, although I don't necessarily. But the only difference really when you look at it is that one of them is saying nothing has created something out of nothing, and the other is saying something has created something out of nothing. Materially, there's not really a lot of difference there. They're both situations that we have absolutely no precedent for, that we have no intuitive grasp of, because we've never come across anything like it. And neither of them are any closer to explaining how you can create something out of nothing, which is the original problem. It's just that the second one has invoked this extra thing, this deity, this agent that now needs an explanation as well. I don't really know what that's gained us. What I do know is if you ask somebody about that agent, tell me about it, explain that away. You know, if it can do these things, it must be really, really complex to be able to have created all these things, to be able to create this universe that's so finely tuned, apparently. So it must be really, really complex. And what they come back with 99 times out of 100, if they know their modern theological get-outs, is that no, you've got it totally wrong, Jim. God is simplicity himself. All these omni characteristics, all these absolute perfect characteristics render him simplicity himself. And I try and get my head around that concept of God as simplicity himself, and I've got it. I can almost kind of feel it, and I can see this God as this kind of neutral plane. You know, this kind of mid-shade of grey, this featureless barrenness, everything and nothing at the same time. And I get that. But as soon as you then tell me that this same entity gives a shit about whether you're masturbating in your bedroom, in generations gone by cared about whether you were boiling a baby goat in its mother's milk or putting an ox and an ass on the same yoke, that vision I've got just snaps back out of focus again, because that isn't a simple, that's a pinickety, that's a very specific, that's a very complex entity that you're talking about there. That isn't this ultimate. If it was so simple and so all-invoking, why would he have such strange predilections as he appears to have? Well, that's all I've got to say on this subject. I don't want to get dragged off as much as I did on the first take. Okay, well, thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it an interesting rant, if nothing else. Bye for now. Thank you for what I've said that already. Okay, bye. Hope it's recorded again. I keep saying that. Bye.